Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Customer Acquisition Show. As is our recurring theme every month, we are joined by our amazing Google team here at Tier 11, Rachna, Santosh, and Nick. Welcome. I am your host, Tom
Hello.
Meredith. I am the VP of Marketing and Innovation here at Tier 11, and this is our reoccurring show, What's Working Now in Google and Performance Max. So what's working now?
A lot is working with Performance Max and Google Ads. And especially as we start ramping up towards Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we're really starting to see accounts kick into gear, getting promotions set up, getting promotion extensions set up, getting everything ready for the big weekend, which is only 2 weeks away now.
Yeah, I know as an American, I'm really excited for the day before Black Friday, Thanksgiving, and all of our turkey eating. But all of us digital marketers are really ramping up here towards the big day. What specifically have you guys put in place so far that you're really looking forward to see how it works this year?
Yeah, for me, before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, it's like you have to submit your promotions beforehand because sometimes your promotions get disqualified, disapproved, and you don't want to manage that one day before the actual space, the sale starts. So you have to be prepared with the website, like check if it's, it can. Sometimes I've seen like the website crashed and it was such a horrible thing to happen during the sale time. So all these things, do not rely on that very last moment and be prepared, submit the promotion and be prepared. So that's what we are working on. We want to make sure that it's done before like at least 1 week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, promotions in if you're an e-commerce business, you want to make sure your promotions are set up in Merchant Center. So that's separate to the Google Ad account where your products live or you have your product feed. And that's where you can set up your promotion. So when your ads show in the product listing ads at the top of Google search, it's going to have the promotion listed, Black Friday sale, 20% off, whatever promotion you're running. And that can make a difference because if you're selling the same product as, your ads are showing next to your competitors and they have their promotion set up and you don't, those shoppers in a frenzy, ready, have that budget to spend on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they're going to pounce on those ads that have the promotion.
It's really kind of like the core fundamental rules of Black Friday is make it as easy as possible for your potential customers so they don't have to think, they can just take action. And if they have to decide between...
Perfect way of putting it. Exactly. Yeah.
Plus, I think for some of our clients, and not some of, most of my clients, I have requested that we go live at least a week before, because you don't want the campaigns to go live exactly on Black Friday. Because as you know, Google Ads, the learning needs to happen. So make sure that ads are approved, like Rachna said. Campaigns are out of learning phase and you're ready to go.
Yeah, I think that's generally a great rule for not just Google Ads, but Facebook and Meta as well, of making sure everything's set up and running earlier than you expect. I know Meta just had all these layoffs. I'm not sure how much support and the approval department was affected by it, but there is potential for bigger disruption as you're getting into the busiest ad day of the year.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to be stuck on a chat. Thank you for your message. We'll get back to you within the next 48 hours. And, Black Friday weekend's just started.
Guess we're doing Cyber Monday.
Right.
Great. So with just a couple of weeks away, any final tips? I don't think we'll meet up after that. We'll do a debrief, but going in, like, what are the last steps anybody can take here in the last 2 weeks?
I think just making sure your promotions is. Oh yeah, go Santosh.
No, go ahead. Carry on.
Okay, I was just going to say, make sure your promotions are set up in Merchant Center. Promotion extensions in Google Ads, very important. You can schedule those extensions. You can schedule promotions and extensions. You can schedule for a certain time. So you want to get your ads live but your promotions and your extensions will, they can be scheduled. So they can run from, a Friday through Monday. So get those set up, get those scheduled, and then you can rest assured that your campaigns are going to run. I think also having your creative synced up. If you're running, you should be running paid social on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And if you are, have some consistency with your creative. So the display assets you're using on your Google Ads, use a consistent branding, consistent style there across Facebook ads and Google Ads, because you're going to be following people around the internet. So you want to have that continuity.
It sounds so creepy, but it's true, right?
It's what we do. It's what we do.
I know it fundamentally is. And I just remember like Black Friday is a time of like kind of lowered client or prospect inhibitions, where there's you probably get away with some of the stuff that you necessarily wouldn't. You don't have to make them think so hard. Really, just make it as easy as possible for them to take action.
And that also involves a very good customer service. Like during that time, so many people are going to be reaching you out for any concern that might, they might have. So you want to make sure that you're addressing them at the same time, because that builds a very good relationship, because most of these customers are approaching you, during that sale time. So you don't want to be like sitting in the back and just hoping that, you're not addressing their concerns. So you have to actively participate and engage with them to keep them, interested in the offers that you are doing. So with e-commerce, not necessarily as much, but that could be like customer care. So if, people are reaching out to you for any questions or anything, so you want to be, addressing that for sure.
Yeah, and Nathan Greisel on LinkedIn has a really good point to remind us that this could also be like the beginning of your potential relationship with this customer. So make sure that you're grabbing all of their emails so that you can continue building that lifetime value. Or maybe they don't actually take action on Black Friday, but it is a place for you to capture their lead gen information and start, trying to acquire them as a customer over the coming months.
That's
such
a really good point. Yeah, because that, shoppers are they're in that hunting, buying frame of mind, and capturing their email and giving them a good experience and following up with them in the right way, in an engaging way, brings them into your funnel. So yeah, really, really good point there.
Great.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really sorry, go ahead.
Those customers who might have not bought from you in the past 1 year and were not actively engaging, they are more, likely to come back and engage with you. So you want to make sure that, provide the utmost value at that very moment, because you don't want to sell your products just during the Black Friday, Cyber Monday. You want to do that for the rest of the year, the next year also. So when you provide that additional value, they're going to come back on a regular basis. So you want to be addressing that as well.
Right. And yes, it's an opportunity to, it's a biggest weekend in the year for online e-commerce and online sales. But if you view it as more than just cashing in on that weekend, but as a starting point to capture a lot of new customers, then that, view that as a starting point for those new customers. And that can justify the promotion, the offer, that 20% off or whatever it is you're offering, that can justify, see that as an investment.
Yeah, and people will be all across the levels of customer awareness on that time, right? This will be some people's first interaction with you where you're just trying to make them aware of your product, and maybe they don't buy like we're talking about, but there is a future where they will. And there's others that have already bought your product, and they're kind of in this, like, we'll call it outcome aware phase, where it's just really about increasing their lifetime value, encouraging them to buy more because of the scarcity of the offer. And there's just the general customer acquisition phase, which most people tend to think of for Black Friday. So it's really important to have messaging and creative for each of those different stages. And it really comes down to having a fundamentally like solid marketing machine that people can plug in wherever they come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that,
Great.
I'm not really sure what the data would tell us. Like the high margin products, I was listening somewhere on some podcast about this lipstick effect, where, people who bought, during this recession where they can't really afford buy, let's say, a $500 product, they try to make them feel good about themselves by just buying like a $50. So in that time, if you're in front of them like for a $5,000, what Dom mentioned, that they might not buy at that very moment, but you can capture them during the awareness stage. But I think that applies for the people who have like a high ticket offer during that time. So yeah, that could be something that we will see after Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Yeah, I saw a news article that came out this last week about how entry-level luxury goods are dropping off right now. So I think there was a big growth in like Gucci belts and Louis Vuitton wallets, kind of still expensive, but in the lower probably $500 to $1,000 range, where that entry level is starting to drop off, mostly probably because of the economy and probably all of the things that I'm not.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting, because that's you'd think like maybe those entry level products might pick up, but no, I think it's really interesting about price points and the thinking that goes into, can I buy that Gucci bag, is even if it's like an entry level. And when people are tightening the budgets, then just even the brand Gucci, as it's a luxury brand, they might think, no, we'll take that off. No more Gucci stuff until we things settle down a bit.
It's probably a segment that's really most affected by changes in the economy, right? Like people who are buying the high end luxury stuff probably don't feel small shifts in inflation or potential recession or layoffs so much as those who have really thrived during, work from home and being able to make a lot of money and potentially not have the additional cost of living close to a highly expensive workplace. But now that there's layoffs and the economy is dipping a bit, they're the most likely to probably cut back.
But it doesn't look like it's gonna leave like last time, because I was listening to this podcast and everybody's talking about recession and the impact of the sale this season. So it doesn't look like it's going to, but it would be a really interesting point to compare with the last time and this time. It's going to be really interesting in that.
Yeah. Just getting back to Black Friday and capturing new customers, there's a feature in Performance Max that when it first came out, we were very excited about it, but we saw that it started out not being a little hit and miss. But that is the new customer acquisition feature in Performance Max. We're watching our accounts and we're watching the number of new customers that Google is reporting, and we're comparing to Shopify's new customers, and also some accounts where we have some third-party tools that can report on new customers. It's getting better and better, closer and closer, to the point where we're going to be testing new customer-only campaigns running alongside the existing campaigns. So this is really powerful. And if you can run a campaign that only acquires new customers and dial in the ROAS or the CPA you need for those new customers, then you have a way of scaling. If you know that your lifetime value and you know how much you can afford to pay for a new customer while scaling, this feature of Performance Max is going to get better and better. And I can say this with confidence because Google Analytics 4, which is, as we know, we're all going to have to move over to Google Analytics 4 next year. Both Google Analytics 4 and Performance Max have been released in a timeline where they're really, being rolled out together. And Google Analytics 4 is very heavy on looking at new customers, lifetime value, predictive modeling, all these kind of features. So I think that's where we're headed. Google's going to be able to identify those new customers and we're going to be able to run true cost per acquisition campaigns. So that's pretty exciting.
And you know what's more interesting? They launched a new customer acquisition feature for search. So that would be something I really want to test because, you
Oh
know,
wow,
most of those
I
search
haven't seen
heavy,
it. Yeah, I
yeah,
haven't
they
seen
did
that.
that.
So it's
Yeah,
almost like the RLSAs, but now actually making it into a feature.
yeah.
No, it's sorry, it's not about
New
RLSA.
customer,
Sorry, it's new
yeah,
customer
not done.
acquisition. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, that feature. So that's something, yeah.
Hey, we have a question: how to control the CPC in the Performance Max campaign?
Turn on display expansion and URL expansion.
Well, I mean, I'm going to say don't try and control the CPC in
The
Performance
word
Max.
control doesn't really go along with Performance Max, first of all. So these
Yeah,
are two different things.
the cost per click, especially, it tends to become somewhat redundant with Performance Max because, and here's the thing, it's a good question, Yash. It really is. But I really like this question because I think a lot of people have the same question because, you know, traditionally in Google Ads, we want to get the best ads match with the best intent to the keywords we're targeting, to the searches. And Google's going to reward us then with lower cost per clicks, higher click-through rates, more impressions. And that all makes sense. Now, the thing with Performance Max is running on search. It's going to be running, if you're e-com, it's going to be running on shopping, and it's going to be running on YouTube and display. Display has the cheapest cost per clicks, the channel in Google Ads. Shopping, the shopping channels tend to have higher cost per clicks these days. YouTube definitely has higher cost per clicks. And search, it just depends on the niche, how competitive the auctions are. So you have all these different channels. So you'd be really like trying to control the cost per click in all those channels, when what we don't have control over in Performance Max is where it spends, what channels it spends. So I would reframe that question to, it comes back to the targeting. What's the goal of the campaign? What ROAS do we need to hit? And I heard a great quote the other day from Mike Rhodes, the great Mike Rhodes, who he's just an amazing Google advertiser from Web Savvy in Australia. But he said the machine's job is to hit the target. Our job is to set the right target. Okay, so that sounds very simplistic, but setting the right target, that takes analysis, that takes analyzing your metrics of what you need to hit to be profitable, supplying the best possible assets for Performance Max, and setting a realistic target for the machine to hit. And that's our job. If we can say, okay, we want a 10x ROAS from this campaign. It doesn't mean that that's what Google's going to get. So we need to find that right balance and then aim the machine. And cost per click, probably not the best metric to look at for Performance Max.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Let's talk about cost per click as a metric, and is that the right metric we should be looking at?
And once you set the target for PMax, remember not to change it frequently, because if you've given it a target, let the whole juggernaut of machines learning go for that target and allow it time. If you change target, like give it a target now and change tomorrow, and 1 week later change another target because you saw some performance in terms of clicks or conversions and thought that it's not going in the right direction, I think that's also a disaster to avoid it.
All right. Any other thoughts on Yasha's
question?
We had
another. I think we had. Sorry. I think that's, hopefully that answers that.
Cool.
Yash. I think we have another question from Nathan. Sorry, we missed that. I thought it was.
Nathan asked, with the way things are on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, how chaotic they get. to the point that promotions have to stretch. What would you say could help improve the client and business setup overall?
So, okay, the point where promotions have to stretch, what would you say to help improve the client and business setup overall?
So if we're talking about like, how do you plan to interact with your clients in the week up and before, or up to and after Black Friday, Cyber Monday?
If I'm understanding the question correctly, I would say a lot of it is organization. Look, I mean, really, that's it. It's project managing up to the weekend, and really, I mean, 2 weeks away. You really want to be moving on this now. And besides within the Google Ad accounts, the things that we mentioned, and then in Merchant Center, the promotions, promotion extensions, get your website ready. I mean, here's the other thing: have a banner on your site saying, ideally with a countdown, and have the offer of the promotion that you're running very clearly displayed. Have the dates, because that lets people know Black Friday is coming. They may want to get reminded. They may capture their email there, and everything between now and then, you want to be focusing towards this weekend and looking beyond, of course. But I think it's preparation and organization now.
So how much are you guys like laying out your plan with your clients? Is it like, here's kind of a, if this then that, like if things are successful, I plan to spend more of your money? If how much are you like prepping your clients for what's going to happen and what your plan is if it goes one way or the other?
This is a great question I'm going to have a go at it, answering it. I think for the paid social side. So here's the difference. Google, as we mentioned, we need to get the campaigns up and running, the ads up and running. We can put in countdowns, we can change headlines, then we can schedule promotion extensions, but we don't want to launch the ads and the campaigns on Black Friday, because Google ramps up. It takes time. And if you launch your campaigns on Friday, it's going to take 4 days for it to work out, for Google to work out what's going on. You're going to miss the boat, basically. The difference is with paid social for Facebook, you do want to launch on Friday and you want to be prepared to scale if you see things catching fire in a good way, catching fire and taking off. So I know on our Facebook advertisers, TikTok advertisers, they are ready. They have budgets prepared with the clients, and they're preparing them for, if we see the signals, we're gonna spend more, and they're gonna scale. That's what's possible on paid social. On Google Ads, we want to give enough room for the machine to scale up. For example, taking off. I mean, I think I'd like to hear Santosh and Rachna's thoughts on this, but taking off the target ROAS, increasing the budget enough so there is room on Black Friday for the campaigns to capture that spend. So it's on the Google side, it's more, you want to not limit the ability to spend up, but we can't be changing budgets throughout the day. It'll just mess everything up. We can't start at, say, $1,000 a day, then at noon, okay, we're going to increase to 2,000. And it won't work that way. We can do that to a large degree on paid social, but we can't do that on Google Ads.
Yeah, I agree with that. So no, client comes back and says like, oh, it's doing really well, double down on my budget. It doesn't I wouldn't be comfortable doing that. No. Yeah.
Couple of points I want to add here, gents. One is that it may happen during the promotion, Black Friday, Cyber Monday promotion, that you may experience less reporting, less conversion reporting, and you don't have to panic during that period. You have to map with your store's sales and see whether or not sales are trickling in through. Because if you just look at Google Ads and press the panic button too soon, you will be interrupting the campaign. The other thing is that try and not to disrupt the existing campaigns during the promotion. If at all you have to run extra ads, try and set up a separate campaign maybe, but do not disrupt the learning and momentum of the existing campaigns. I think that's the way to stabilize the ship to some good extent during the promotion.
It reminds me of something that happened, well, at least I was made aware of last week here, is that we were doing one of our quarterly business reviews with one of our clients, and the Google ads didn't seem to be doing anything special for this client. But then they happened to show us their Amazon account, and they had like 6x to their Amazon sales magically without needing more spend on Amazon. So it is really important for you to track your sales across all of your sales channels, including Amazon, to see how much effect your overall Black Friday, Cyber Monday advertising is. I think it was your account, wasn't it, Santosh?
Yeah, and that account brings a big smile on our
Memories.
faces.
Well, it was a great example of a really great case study. And I mean, we could devote a whole one of these episodes to talking about selling on Amazon and also running Google ads when you're selling your own products. But really what the big takeaway was, this particular client is selling their products on Amazon too, their own products, which are selling really well on Amazon. And when that happens, Amazon goes and buys up its own Google Ads inventory and starts bidding on Google Ads. And who's going to have the bigger budget out of Amazon and and an individual business? I think Jeff Bezos is going to win there. So what we find is that we saw the ROAS going down in the Google ad account, but as soon as there was a promotion, it was a pre-Black Friday sale run, then the ROAS shot up to like 9x from an average of around 1.5x before that, because suddenly the customers had an opportunity to, they had a reason to buy through the website, to put in their credit card details, to, in this case, pay for shipping, rather than going over to Amazon, hitting a button and having all those benefits of Prime, et cetera, and actually, getting it for the same price, but with free shipping. So was a really, really just insightful. And that's another thing we have several clients who are selling on Amazon as well. And it's a very viable channel for the volume. Customers trust Amazon, and there just needs to be, weighing up, okay, Amazon's going to charge commission. Okay, the greater profit margin you get from selling on your own site, how can you pass on some of those benefits to the customer? So for example, if you're selling at the same price on Amazon, how can you beat that? Can you beat that slightly? Can you offer free shipping? And some clients, this is a big logistical decision because, shipping prices have gone up. Shipping prices are astronomical. So, and that's where we help clients weigh up these decisions on how much do you want to sell on Amazon? What's that going to cost you in terms of commissions? Also going to cost you in terms of gathering first-party data, calculating cost per new customer, because you can't do that with Amazon. With your own website, you can. That's the asset that your own website is. So, yeah, it's a big conversation. So, like I said, we could probably devote a whole episode to that. So I'll leave it there.
Yeah, I imagine we'll be talking a lot more about. Good.
That shipping thing reminds me of one of the things that I'm actually working with a client during this time, especially is the AOV. So how they can, improve that AOV, especially like people don't really like paying for the shipping. So if you just have like a reminder that when you add a $20 more product into the cart, you get a free shipping. So just a quick nudge and reminding that, if your cart value is already $80 and above 100, it's free. So it not automatically improves the AOV, and not necessarily they're going to be just adding $20. It could be $30. So it ultimately results in a very good AOV overall during this time because most of the people are going to buy because of the offers that we're going to be doing. So things like that, like during this time, if you work on that, AOV can really result in improving the overall results too.
So are we
Yeah.
saying people should run different offers for Black Friday, Cyber Monday on Amazon and their site, or the same?
I think I got confused with that. I wasn't talking about Amazon.
I know, but
Just when Nick said that about shipping, how people, like the shipping cost is so high. So that reminded me of one of the situations. Um, so that, doing that on Black Friday, Cyber Monday would be really good. So yeah, sorry to confuse it with the Amazon.
no, I just that triggered a thought in mind of like, what's the most important for the business? Is it overall revenue and sales? Because then you'd probably want to have similar offers on Black Friday, Cyber Monday on Amazon and your site. Or is this really a big opportunity to only have the offer on your site and then really capture all that customer information?
Definitely the best offer on the website. And that would be like slightly lower on Amazon would be something that can work out, but don't do like 50% on Amazon and you're selling at price on your website.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna make an analogy that's a little smaller, but if you take restaurants, okay, you have your local restaurant, they prefer that you call them directly and order from them rather than using Uber Eats, because then they make more margin, and in a way, I guess you could say they're capturing your first party data. So it's weighing up. I don't think fighting, staying off Amazon it depends on the business, but there's a big benefit to that channel. So I think it's embracing the reality that selling on Amazon, may be the right thing to do, but then balancing that out with the benefits. How can you make it attractive to the customers to buy on your own site as well?
I think
Great.
selling the best sellers on Amazon is a good strategy. Like, it can bring in the most people, and then you can introduce them with the, other range of products that also you introduce. So if you want a right balance between your own website products and Amazon, start with your best sellers. So that would be something, to attract more customers coming to your business and get to know you, and then you can sell everything, other products directly from your website.
Nice. Yeah. Well, this is turning into what's working now on Amazon. So let's go back to Google.
Yeah, we have a question
yeah,
here.
from Subham.
What it has, Santosh, really impressed with your last post on LinkedIn about Google Ads. Can you share something more about it? We've also asked, Ankit, what post he's referring to.
I think he's referring to the post I made today, and this was from the Google Ads course by Guided PPC that there are 20 candidates, and today's session was focused on brainstorming to understand your client, their key service offerings, and the competitive advantages before actually writing ads or setting up campaigns. I think this was a very, very important exercise that we did today, and it was very helpful to everyone. So this, I mean, folks might be doing this already, but this is just a reminder. If you are not deep diving on the client before you start creating campaigns, you might get this wrong.
Yeah, really, really great point. I think with Google Ads, it's very easy to get caught up in the technical. Yeah. And it can be easy to easy to not remember that we're selling to people and understanding the clients, like Santosh said, their offerings, who they're selling to, is really important. Because at the end of the day, too, as technical as Google Ads can be, the ads that people see are still what's going to get them to click. So there's so much the machine does with bidding and showing the ads at the right time, but we need to make sure we're supplying the right messaging and the right value propositions and showing the offers in the best possible way.
Yeah. Well, staying on the technical theme, Shabam has another question for us. For sales like Black Friday, do you create a new campaign or make changes to the existing campaigns?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a good one. I think we can debate over this.
Yes,
Well,
this
you
is now, here's
can.
the thing. Nobody knows. Nobody really knows for sure, because this is really the first Black Friday, Cyber Monday, where Performance Max, well, we're running, I'm going to assume he's talking about Performance Max, although there have been other sales throughout the year. So we do have some insights into how Performance Max behaves during sales.
So the new feature rolled out where you can launch your ad group and pause it, and automatically, whenever you want to start the sale, you can turn that asset group on, and it's going to pick up from where the existing one is going. So I think this new feature is something that we are also putting up in line, and you can keep that paused, have everything structured with your creatives and everything which is there, and then you can turn it on. So that's a new feature, and Google has said that that specially was rolled out for this holiday season. So everybody should be trying that.
Yeah, that's a really cool feature. And so scheduling those asset groups with all your Black Friday, Cyber Monday messaging, creative, it's going to be an interesting one, because I've always had the rule that I found with Performance Max, adding new asset groups can really reset the learning. So in this case, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I would say getting them set up, and because they're scheduled, you can set them live. So there may be some, some kind of factor of Google looking ahead, seeing these asset groups, seeing when they're going to be scheduled. But yeah, I think, we're going to go ahead and have those asset groups ready to be launched, scheduled for Black Friday through Cyber Monday.
All right, a quick poll
Yeah.
amongst you. Are you setting up new campaigns or making changes to existing ones for Black Friday?
My opinion would be not to set up a new campaign.
Yeah, I'd second that.
Because it's going to, especially if you've had a Performance Max campaign or campaigns that have been running, evergreen, there's learning there, there's conversion data. So I think it's much better, this feature of scheduling those asset groups is the best way to do it. And scheduling, having all your extensions and your promotion extensions and your promotion set up in Merchant Center.
And I will say that don't change the existing campaigns. So now decide. So don't create new campaigns. Don't change existing campaigns.
But Santosh, what do you think about adding these, like scheduling these asset groups?
Yeah, that's an option we can try. Obviously, this is new. Performance Max
It's
is new, so
new.
nobody knows.
That's the thing. We got to
Yeah.
weigh up. We've got to weigh up. Black Friday's coming. This is a new feature. I am going to recommend that we test it, because this is the weekend. Obviously, if we're testing it for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, this is the weekend where it has to be tested. So
Definitely.
otherwise we won't know.
Is it the best weekend to test?
No, but in this case, I think it's worth it. I think this is worth a test. Creating a whole new campaign, I would say no. But I would think testing here and we'll be very clear with our clients. This is something, we're going to be testing. The safe way, as Santosh said, don't change anything. Just have your promotion extension set up, have your promotion set up in Merchant Center. And
one more thing to that is, like, if your sale is for just like a week, don't do it. If you have like a longer sale period, I think that's worth testing because it gives more time to it. But that also depends. Like if you're starting early and then finishing off pretty late, I would test that, but not for a short period of time.
So you would say
Risking
not for
it.
4 days from Black Friday through Cyber Monday?
Just for like a very short period of time, if you are also keeping that on after the Black Friday, Cyber Monday is gone, because most of them do, I would test it. But if it's just for like a couple of days, I don't think so. I'll be inclined in doing that. Also depends on the account level, like how much of the spend is going on. If it's a small account, I think promotions is the way to go and not mess up with the existing performance max campaign by adding
Mhm.
another asset group. But again, depends on account to account, sale period, and everything, where it's more likely to test.
And you are referring to the asset group, those scheduled asset groups.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you do
That'll
have to
be
create some
really
new,
good. Sorry, Santosh, go
sorry,
ahead.
sorry, I was saying that if you do have to test new campaigns, then test the campaigns that you have not tested so far. So, for example, if you're running Performance Max, try discovery with uh, feed.
Hmm.
If you have not tested dynamic search ads, try dynamic search ads. If you have not done a asset only Performance Max, test that. That's probably a good test right now, because with just the assets, not the feed, that Performance Max campaign could get you more visibility and therefore better traction during this sale period.
Right, because this is really, I mean, it's the weekend of the year where it is, I mean, I'm going to say it's probably the easiest to get conversions. So that can be a litmus test if you're testing a new campaign type. As Santosh said, discovery with a product feed, outbound YouTube. Use that as a test, and that gives you an idea. Okay, does this particular channel that you haven't utilized much before, does it have traction over Black Friday and Cyber Monday? And that may give you some insights into whether that's a good next channel to explore in Google Ads.
Great. So moving on to some of the Google updates, and to say anybody who's watching, if you have questions, be sure to drop them in the chat. We're happy to answer them. I saw one of our talking points today was out of home.
Yeah.
Out of home. First of all, what is out of home, and what's Google doing about it?
Okay, so out of home display means it means out of home. So it means not necessarily billboards, but for example, in shopping malls, in public places where they have digital advertising. So Google has bought up inventory there and is making this available for display as a display placement in Google Ads. And I believe it has been available for some time in Display 360, which is more their like enterprise, a high level product. But now it's going to be rolling out to individual advertisers. So what's cool about this? Well, I think it's great they're offering it in display, and measuring the impact, though, I think that's going to be key. I'm more excited about when that becomes a part of Performance Max, because Performance Max connects everything to a goal, which can be sales. So, for example, if you have your account that is scaled to a certain point with shopping listing ads, and even you're running YouTube, outbound YouTube, and even outbound display for online display, and you're reaching a certain ceiling. Okay, now going to the next level. What happens when your ads start showing on bus stops, in shopping malls, in all these places where, that are displayed, where your customers might be walking, might be driving past, might be eating at a restaurant? What impact does that have? What overall lift does that have? That is really, I find that really exciting.
In terms of the reporting is something like going to be really interesting, like how many people actually saw the ad. So, we're so used to about impressions and clicks and all that. So I really look forward to it, definitely. I agree with you.
Yeah, and I'm putting on my tinfoil hat here. But at Google's big conference this year, everybody was asking, why did they have this big section on movies? And they brought on like Reese Witherspoon's, the CEO of her like production company. And what I think is happening, Google is looking to connect the more mass media style advertising right through to the bottom of the funnel with online sales. So that's the first time that's been done. Okay. So you think about it before when you're advertising, you have these more mass saturation style advertising on billboards, movie cinemas, TV, radio. You would be, marketing companies and businesses would be measuring the lift, these very higher, level metrics. Google is looking to connect those dots. Okay. Because people who, are walking past, say, a bus stop with a display advertisement, they've got their phone. They're using Gmail. Okay. So this is, again, my tinfoil hat, but I believe this is where they're trying to go. They're actually looking to connect that top of funnel, really top of funnel awareness style advertising right down to bottom of funnel purchases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if they have the ability to connect when a display ad is running in the real world versus where your phone is at the exact same time. They won't be able to see where your eyes are looking until you put on your Google glasses, whatever the next version of that is.
And the
So
placements would really matter. For like example, what Nick said, the restaurant one. For example, if I have a placement near a restaurant, so there'll be certain period of time where I would want to be showing my ads for like during the lunchtime or during the dinner time, So that is something I think the placements where your ads are showing is also going to be something different.
it's a really good point. Like, how does this drive creative? Like, what's even the size?
That's it. That's a great question. I haven't looked into detail so much for the actual size, but obviously you don't want to submit an image that when it's shown, because I have one of these out of home. I'm just looking at it right now on the screen. But it looks like it's about 6 foot by 3 foot by 3 feet. So if you submit an image that when it shows there, it's going to be all pixelated, might look great on a phone screen, but it's got to be pretty high res to show up on the out of home display, or at least not high res, but I think you know what I'm saying. You don't want it to look poor quality.
Right. So if you said this is going to be part of like the display campaigns,
it appears at the moment. Yeah, it's announced for display and display 360, which display 360 is that's the enterprise level display and video product placements, but now it's actually going to be a normal Google ad account. So yeah, just going to be super interesting and not relevant for all clients, of course, but for some who are looking to reach that next level and get more visibility, this could be a good way to do it.
By lumping this in with display, is that Google admitting that display isn't really good for conversions since you can't really convert on these?
This is more of like awareness. Like if you want to create more awareness about it, like it's definitely not going to be conversion focused. I don't
Right.
think
But
so. What do you
however,
guys
this is
think?
why I was saying I'm more excited about it being a part of Performance Max, because if Google can join the dots between how many people see this display advertisement through Google Maps, through the, making phone calls, phone signals, triangulating where people are close to this particular placement and how that affects the sales. That's what I'm excited about. Alone in display, I would find it, unless you had a budget that you would just large budget you could throw at this and have a look at overall on sales in that particular area. I'm not that excited about that. I think there's probably already other ways of running out of home display where you could do the same thing. I'm more excited about this being inside Performance Max and seeing if Google can connect the dots in some way.
Any other big Google news that you guys want to chat about?
There have been quite a few updates that I don't know if you'd call them big Google news, but Google's version of the lookalike audience is going away. So that's an update. I'm not going to say whether that's good or bad. It's, there are some audiences for YouTube, such as topics and I think even keywords, they're sunsetting. However, we think Santosh actually brought up, he believes, I think Santosh, it was you were saying that they may just come back as audience signals, which is Google's new version of audience targeting. They call it audience signals.
Yeah. It's all migrating towards that. So I just thought it might come back. We have a new question from Nachiket, Tom.
Yeah. For Black Friday, should we do assets only campaigns or split into separate display, discovery, YouTube campaigns? The semi-opaque nature of PMax doesn't help to test creatives and audiences.
It's a really good one.
Should we assets only or split it up?
So if you already have a PMax campaign running, don't touch it. And then the natural option is to not split, like, set up different campaigns and test display, discovery, and YouTube. Because most likely you are going to have more control on display, discovery, and YouTube, and therefore better chance of getting whatever traction you can get out of the sales period. That's that. I mean, I'm like totally advocating against not touching the PMax campaign that you already have.
Yeah, that reminds me of something that's working. Is the asset only campaign without feed alongside asset only campaign. If you have those two set up, it's really working out. Do you remember we were talking about this on our team call, Nick and Santosh? I said that I'll share my results with you.
Yeah.
It is actually improving the existing feed only campaigns ROAS, and it's improving. And so that's really working. So if you have not already tested that out, I would recommend people are going into this control scenario where they want to only run a feed only campaign. But if you have an asset only campaign without the feed, it actually works like, it fills the top of the funnel and the other campaign does that remarketing, heavy remarketing, if that's the feed only without asset. So that reminds me of something we were earlier talking about, that it's working. And if you have not tested that out, I would highly recommend doing that.
Yeah, it seems like part of this question is about testing creatives and audiences. How do you do that outside of Performance Max? Or do you just throw it into Performance Max and help the machines solve it for you?
That's a really great question. I'm going to say that's one part of Performance Max I find it's still really wanting. Nachiket, you're absolutely right. The semi-opaque nature of PMax, I wouldn't even call it semi-opaque. I would just call it opaque. Doesn't help to test creative and audiences. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this is something that is going to have to get better, because we have a tool like a Google Sheet that we developed where we can take every image, every YouTube video and pull it into this sheet, but it's very inefficient to do. And even the fact that there's no master asset report, when you look at Performance Max, you have to go into each individual asset group, look at how those assets are performing and make decisions. And they change, the ratings change. An asset will start off as high rated, then it can change to low the next week. So it's really, I would say use Performance Max, use the assets, look for the patterns over time. But I think you're going to get more useful data on what creative's working in the actual channel. So if you're running display remarketing, well, I actually have to pull that back too, because if you're e-commerce, then most of the time customers are going to see a product pulled from the feed rather than the assets you've uploaded. So I would say though, with YouTube, you're going to get more actionable data for what's working from actual YouTube campaigns rather than in Performance Max. Take what's working in YouTube, then put it into Performance Max. So I'll just round that out by saying it's something we're still working on too. The creative asset features in Performance Max are still, I think, we're going to have to get better. So we actually have some scripts where we're able to see a breakdown of how Performance Max is spending. We can chart that out. And for most e-commerce stores, 95% of the spend is in search and shopping. So we don't obsess too much about the assets that we're using in Performance Max for e-com unless we see YouTube spend take off. And by deduction, we might see in like we can see other spend that display is being used. But that display portion too is most of the time going to be pulling products from a feed. So on the other hand, if you're running digital sales, then you're not using a product feed. So you're going to get more insight for what creatives are working from Performance Max if you're not running a product feed.
With the creatives, I just want to add to that is like if it says low, replace it. If it has been like a significant time that the campaign has been running and now your creative says the performance was low, just replace it with a new one. So that's what the machines need. And if the machines are saying the performance is low, you need to replace it with something else.
Only problem is that if you put the creatives now, you will get the performance a month later. Not now.
Yeah, now,
That's right.
not now.
That's right, which is why this schedule asset groups for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'd be curious when
So
we're going to
that
be able to
has
see
to
that.
be,
By the way, if we test that with the script we have, we're going to be able to see how much spend that particular asset group gets.
yeah, don't do changes on the existing one, schedule another one. But like most of the people have this thing that if I change the image, would it go back to learning? It's not going to go back to learning. If you are just gradually changing the images, you should be fine.
That's a
So
really
I
great
think
topic. So yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
now just
I'm
adding to
talking about-
Rachna's point that you are replacing it, not like Rachna said, changing it, not adding or subtracting. If you add and subtract, then it's going to go to learning. But if you're just replacing it, it's not going to go to learning. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
a
don't
really good
hesitate.
topic. Yeah, the changes to Performance Max, what will put it back in learning and what won't. That's a topic to talk about. And I think you guys, Santosh and Rachna, you would have, I would say you're going to have a better idea of what is going to do that than me at the moment. So that's something, yeah, we may bring to the next one of these calls, what we can change with Performance Max without worrying about setting it back into learning and what to look out for. So yeah, something definitely you don't want to do before Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Yeah.
Sounds like a great TikTok topic.
Yes, that is a great TikTok topic.
You guys have been great about creating TikTok content for us, so I look forward to seeing a TikTok on this in a future episode for the show. It looks like we have a question here from Hazaban. I tried to create a feed-only Performance Max campaign this week, but I couldn't do that because it required assets to start. What about feed-only Performance Max? It's not working in my account, so I created a Performance Max with feed and asset. My product is kids food box subscription.
I have seen this too.
Yeah.
I don't have a solution though.
I mean, there are ways you can try. You can try to push the changes through your editor, or you can try to create a asset group with assets and then pause it and then create a new one. So now there we all have been through all these scenarios. We've been trying that, and sometimes we've found a roadblock. But it has worked for me. Like there was a time when I was not able to create just asset group. For that, I had to create a asset group with asset. And then when I paused it and created a new one, it just was, feed only. I did not add any assets or audience signals to that. So, I mean, it's worth trying these two ways for you. Would be first push the changes through your editor. The second would be create an asset only and then pause it and then create another one. So yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, that's right, Hasaban. Yeah, try that. You can create a placeholder, have a few assets in there, pause that asset group, and then create your feed only asset group. That's the way I've always had to do it too. But I would say this, Hasaban, we're at the point now where we're creating the feed only campaigns was a way of clinging to smart shopping, because that was, that's been a theme around Performance Max, that it's constantly being compared to smart shopping when it's a new campaign type. So running feed only was a way of like, let's just ride this out. Let's run feed only so we can at least get something that's similar to smart shopping. But I believe it's time we've got to move past that. As Performance Max develops, we've got to get the learning. We've got to get the learning from working with assets, from working with the whole campaign, or as this develops, if you're still running feed only campaigns, you might be left behind. And now, in saying that, running feed only and then running a Performance Max with out of feed and assets only as well, that's something we're testing quite extensively too. So that's quite different. But yeah, see how that
It's
goes.
like putting all your eggs into one basket and Google takes your basket away.
Right. Exactly. Google likes to take baskets away. It likes to take things away without any warning. so
I have a creative hack though. If you try this on odd days, try this on even days. It might work.
The what?
What
If
was
you
that?
tried this on odd days and the Google didn't allow you to create feed only campaign,
Oh,
Max,
right.
try
Yeah,
on
right.
even days.
Yeah,
Never
that's
know.
right. It may change day to day. Exactly.
Well, great. We're at a little bit past an hour, so I think we'll go ahead and start wrapping this up. Thank you for everybody who's asked questions. We have one more here. I'd copy an existing feed-only campaign if you have, and change the listing groups to be the ones you want. Maybe this can work out.
Yeah, that could work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great tip, Nachiket. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Well, our amazing Google team, thanks for joining us. These are our best episodes because you guys are such a tight, smart crew and have such smart answers to these questions. Everybody who's watching, thank you for joining us today on the Customer Acquisition Show and hearing what's working now in Google and Performance Max. If you'd like to learn more about working with Tier 11 or even for Tier 11 and joining this great Google team, go to tier11.com. And for lots of amazing tips from this crew and the rest of Tier 11, go check out all of our shorts platforms like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and IG Reels. We're posting tons of great tips and content there every single day. So thank you, everybody. And we'll see you on the other side of Black Friday and kind of get into some of our learnings and if the things we tested worked out or not. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.